And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at, Gearworks! Yeah, I don't really know what the purpose of sleeves are. I think this might just be a Kickstarter thing, who knows. The box looks way better than the sleeve does, actually. It's a pretty cool looking box. Gearworks says, hey, you're a tinkerer, you're making cool contraptions, steampunky type theming. It is a card laying game where you'll be placing cards into grids, and you guys know I like grids. Let's take a look at this one. In this game, each player is going to be a tinker. You can play with the special abilities or not. Each of them have a different special ability. They also each have a different color that they're going to be in this game. Each player is going to start with a contraption. You will get more as the game goes by, and you're going to need specific things. So for this contraption, I need a propeller and some fire. That's D and 2. So I'm going to want to get these because getting these is going to finish that contraption and could win me the game. If I have a contraption and get one part of it, that's 4 points. If I get both parts, that's 9 points. And if I have a part that doesn't fit any contraption cards I have, that's just simply going to be worth 2 points. Now the game is going to be based around a deck of cards. It's numbered from 1 to 9 in 4 different suits, different color cogs. And you're going to have a grid here that is 1, 2, 3, 4 rows and A, B, C, D, E columns. You're going to draw random cards to go in A2, B1, E3, and D4. So once you do that, players will have a handful of these cards and they're going to start. On your turn, you're going to play a card to a row or column. So I could, for example, place this card here. Now it has to go to an empty space, or it can go on top of another card if it meets the criteria of going there. And I'll explain that in a second. Well, right now, when you play a card, each column can only have one of each color. So I could not play this 8, for example, in this column because there already is a silver one there. But I could place it here. When you place a card into a row, all the cards in that row need to be ascending or descending. Well, right now they're descending, 7 to 3. This 8, for example, I could have placed in this row here, and now, again, it's descending. It would be 8 to 6. When you place a card, you will take control of that row and column, pointing your color, so let's say I'm the red player, towards it. I now control column B and row 2. So maybe the next player plays an 8 here like this, and let's say they're black. Now they control column B, and they control row 3. And you're going to keep doing that. And eventually you're going to run out of places to put cards. I have this green 6, well, I definitely can't place it here. I could place it here if I wanted to, so maybe I will. And I'm the white player, so I'll point the white one down here and then turn this cog facing this direction. And you're just going to keep doing this and playing cards. Players also have sparks that they have. There are ways that you can get sparks. After you play a card, you're going to look at the cards that are closest to you. So let's say, for example, I play an 8 card here. The closest cards to me in all 4 directions are nothing, nothing, a 3, and a 6. If the 2 numbers that are closest to me become this number here, so 6 and 3, does that make 8? No, it does not. However, if I had played a 9 in that spot, so let's say I played, well, I can't play the 9 of green there, but let's say I had played the 9 here, then I would get a spark also, besides controlling the column and the row. You also can discard any 2 cards to get a spark. Well, why do you want a spark? Well, you can draw a spark you can spend a spark to draw another gear card, or you can spend 2 sparks to replace a gear card. Remember I said you could do that? To do that, though, you need to spend 2 of these. Or you can draw another contraption card and get more of these cards that you're trying to fulfill. At the end of a round, which is after everyone has passed, you have to basically use all the pieces you've got. If you don't have any contraption to stick them in, like I said, they're 2 points. Otherwise, you stick them on a contraption where you will get 4, or if you have both, 9 points. And then the grid is rebuilt. Everything is reset. Again, 2 random cards will be put into the corners, and more cards will be shuffled and handed out to everybody, and you'll start another round. After 3 rounds, you'll total up the points, and whoever has the most points is the winner of the game. Now, I don't think you need a mat for every game. There's a lot of games that come with mats, but this is one of the few times where there's an optional mat that you can get, and this is, I think, almost critical to this game. Because again, it shows you where the cards start in a 3 or 4 player game and in a 2 player game. And it also shows you basically where the rows and columns are. I found that it was not quite so easy to see where a card was, especially down here. You put a card here. It just, okay, it's possible, but it just was a little confusing in that regard. Now, the cards themselves, I love these gear cards. They look great. The card quality is good. It's crystal clear. You see a color and a different type of gear. That's fantastic. The wooden gears themselves, also great quality, great components. I like how the colors here have different textures to them. So again, it's easy to tell which color is which. These tokens are great. The artwork for the Tinkerers is pretty bad, actually. I don't like it at all. But other than that, great graphic design, everything about this game really nice, except for the fact that this mat I wish had been somehow been able to be included in the game. Well, I like grids, but I don't like this game. Like I said, the mat, putting the cards out, that's a minor thing though. If I liked the game, I would figure out how to make that work. I don't think this game is very interesting. There's very obvious things. You have a card, you are trying to get the stuff on that card, period. You have 2 cards, okay, now your options increased. And obviously getting anything out there is worth 2 points, but you definitely want the ones in your cards. So you're going to play cards to that row and column, hopefully to that exact spot to take control of those, and then someone will take it away from you. And then, after a couple cards are played, you're at the mercy of the cards in your hand. I'm like, oh, I would love to play a card there. I don't have that card in my hand. Oh, but Vasel, use the sparks. Use them wisely. You run out of sparks really quickly. And then I might use a spark to draw a card, and that card doesn't go in my hand anyway. And it's very possible, especially when you're playing with more players, let's say you're playing with 4 players, it's very possible for you to not get anything at the end of a round because the other players have just kept messing you up over every turn. And that's exciting. It's not. It feels like there's just that whole that whole place a card and then see if the card's there, add or subtract to equal that number, and then you get a spark. Why? So what that does, okay, it doesn't add to the fun of the game. What it does is it means someone's like, okay, I'm going to put a card here, but wait, before I put the card, let me add up all the numbers on the board. If I put the card there, 1 plus 5 is 6, okay, 4 plus 1 is 5, 3 plus 2, I can't put the card in, and you're like, oh my goodness, you are really dragging this game out. But I can't blame them for dragging the game out because you have to sit there and think, because sparks are that important. You need to, sparks let you do all kinds of actions and pass, come back in. They're that critical. Why would you not try to do that? But that number thing is just, again, it just feels like another layer of randomness on top. I happen to have the card. I mean, it's not fun for another player. It's fun for you, sure, when you're like, wow, this card fits exactly in here. And look, it matches the numbers and I get a spark. And I'm sitting there going, I got 3 7s in my hand, but this row is already filled up and I can't put this one here. I don't know. I mean, I did not enjoy this game at all. I wanted to. I thought, ooh, the grid. I like the components. I thought, ooh, why you put it here, control row and column. It sounded more interesting than it did. But the rules about it has to be a different color, it has to be in ascending or descending order, and it has to be, addition or subtraction. It doesn't have to be, but it might as well have to be because you really want to try to do that. And you're sitting there, causes this game to be not a game where it's like, ooh, wow, neat. It's like, And it drags out because people are sitting there thinking about where to place their card. And at the same time, you're trying to control certain spots and people are just taking them away from you. Not out of maliciousness, because they're trying to get a row or column. And the interaction is, it happens, right? I'm taking this from you and I'm taking that from you. But not because I'm trying to stop you from winning, it's just accidental blockage. And no one likes that I can figure out. Like, oh, you blocked me. Ha ha ha, good play, sir. Now, so this might be for some people, but I want my card games to be light and fun, or heavy and serious and have meaningful decisions, and I feel like this is none of those. So, I don't know, some folks may like it, but no one that I played it with did. That's Gearworks. Dice Tower Judgment, I just found it too boring.